So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? Oh, that would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview. You know, MrMedia.com, MRmedia.com. Come by and check out the site sometime. Lots of good stuff. The show is brought to you today on iPhones, Android, Palm, and BlackBerry by the Stitcher app for mobile devices. You can also subscribe to the show for free on iTunes. Mr. Media is also sponsored by thepartyauthority.us. Planning a wedding, mitzvah, or corporate event? For any and all occasions, call the Party Authority nationwide at 1-800-DIAL-DJs. That's 1-800-342-5357, where one call does it all. So where was I before the commercial? Oh yeah, Mr. Media is recorded live from St. Petersburg, Florida, the new media capital of the world and hometown of a lot of people who remember when soap operas were on the radio and television would never catch on. Well, during my brief flirtation with the ABC soap opera All My Children as a newlywed in the late 1980s who didn't refuse his wife much of anything, let alone his company, I always remembered the character of Jack Montgomery. The actor who played Montgomery, Walt Willey, seemed out of place to me, a little too lighthearted, even when the scene called for serious, a guy having fun at all times, kind of winking to the audience that he knew the storylines were often sillier than silly.
Listen to me. I'm not saying that it will be easy, but you will get through this, and so will Kendall.
Michael Canby is not through with us.
No. Erica, dreams are in our heads. They are our subconscious working overtime. That's all. They are not Michael Canby's reaching out from beyond the grave.
No, he's going to avenge his death.
You had a nightmare. You were tense about this trial. We had that weird winter thunder, and you put those two things together, and you had a bad dream. It has nothing to do with reality, honey.
I hope you're right.
I know I'm right. Look. You get through testifying today, and you will be much closer to a very bright future.
Me, a bright future? Wow. I don't think that there's too much to look forward to. I don't see it being very bright for me right now.
My God, what kind of a sad, sad world is it where Erica Kane has nothing to look forward to?
No, I only meant that I just right now can't think of anything. What's this?
A little piece of the future. Something for you to look forward to. I think maybe now would be the perfect time to give this to you.
Tickets to the Riviera?
That's right. I rescheduled our trip.
This afternoon?
No. Would that I could, but I did schedule it for a time that we could all go. You, me, Bianca, Reggie, Lily. Greenleaf she'll go, and Kendall.
That was supposed to be our honeymoon trip.
That's right. Hey. We're looking forward now, remember?
And this shows so much faith. I mean, you even got one for Kendall Jack. That is so sweet.
Has nothing to do with being sweet. I'm just confident, that's all.
Oh, I wish I could share that.
All right, I'll tell you what. If you can't share that, why don't you share this with me? Tell me, does this remind you of someplace?
Pub on the green in Central Park?
You're a very funny woman, you want to be, you know that? We say you and I play a little pretending game.
Isn't there a law against that? In the DA's office?
Yeah, well, seeing as I'm not the DA anymore, who cares? Let's pretend that we're in the boathouse. It's a hot summer's night. There's the faintest breeze.
Well, fans of this show know I'm not a regular watcher of the soaps, but I know Willie is not your average soap star either. When he's not taping new episodes of AMC, he's working as a stand-up comedian. And when he's not doing either of those professional pursuits, he and his wife run the Crystal Mesa Farm Bed and Breakfast in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And on Saturday, June 12th, Walt Willey will take a break from all that to be the celebrity guest host of Acme Saturday Night at the Acme Comedy Theater in Los Angeles. Showtime is 7 p.m. Pacific. Studio tickets are $10 online, $15 at the door, and you can order tickets or watch the show live online for free at acmecomedy.com. Walt Willey, welcome to Mr. Media.
Wow, thank you very much, Bob, for having me. I appreciate it. I was trying to place that scene that you were playing. I have the great and wonderful gift. The minute I tape something, it falls out of my head. So I was trying to place that. I guess that was during the Michael Cambias days, which aren't really that long ago, but I guess they are. They just don't seem that long ago.
Well, the date that was on the clip where I got it said 2004, if that helps any. I didn't know, but you never know if that's when it ran or just when it was posted, so it's hard to...
It seems like 6 months and 20 years both at the same time. It seems like a long time ago and just yesterday, yeah.
Well, Walt, I was working out my introduction for the show and talking about
which I'm going to interrupt and say that was some of the nicest things anybody has ever said about me. The fact that you think that I was out of place and kind of winking at the audience, that I knew this was a little silly. I take that as a huge compliment, and while I don't like to lampoon the place in which I've made my living for 23 years, I think you're absolutely right. That is what I'm doing. So thank you for those kind words.
My pleasure. That's much better than you saying, "You SOB, I can't believe you would impugn my work," which was not my motive at all. As a matter of fact, what I was going to say is that on reflection, I kind of suspect that your co-star Susan Lucci plays Erica Kane with a bit of a nod and a wink too.
I think you have to. See, Susan. I mean, people ask me, is Susan really nice? Yeah, Susan is really nice. Erica, however, of course, I wouldn't have anything to do with in real life more than once, maybe twice. But the character doesn't have much of a learning curve. But Susan is fabulous, and for anyone, and I was just on a flight with Val Kilmer. We both live in New Mexico, and we were talking about this. We just got off the plane here a few minutes ago. And, Val was aware of who she is, and we were talking about how, there's hardly anybody that we could think of that can maintain this degree of suspension of disbelief for as long as 40 years, for as long as she has, and come into work every day breathing fire. She is amazing. I mean, when you consider what that character has gone through, it shoves her way into the realm of either, immortal gods or cartoon character, but she straddles both those and brings it home every day, and I think she's amazing. Is there a wink? Yeah, I guess there is. Somewhere there's got to be a wink, to do it that long with that kind of top shelf quality. There's got to be a wink somewhere, but when she comes out there and hits this mark, she thoroughly believes it, as any actor should.
Well, but now I got to back you up and interrupt the conversation about you and Susan Lucci to ask about you and Val Kilmer on a plane. We had the district attorney, Jackson Montgomery, and we had Batman flying together.
That's right. Yeah, well, we didn't talk about that much. We didn't talk about that. We talked about things like how much snow we had this year and how the kids are doing and stuff like that. We don't talk about. We don't talk much about our jobs.
It is kind of a funny thing for somebody who I don't know.
But we do talk about Susan Lucci, so there you go.
All right. Now, what do you think it is about your chemistry with Susan over all these years that brings these characters back? I
don't know. We are one of the longest enduring characters in daytime, without a doubt. I mean, and to have seen the altar only once, which I think is amazing. I mean, Jack Montgomery is one of the least involved, least married guys in daytime who's been around for a quarter of a century. I mean, it's just, there are people who are around for 5 years, they're married and divorced 3 times. He's a pretty stalwart, loyal guy. I don't know. I mean, I like Susan, and I think she likes me, and I think we have great respect one for the other. We're both I think, very well prepared. We both come in with a viewpoint of what our characters want from the scene, and they don't always agree. And that's, I think that's as it should be, too. I think when you have two actors going, oh, yes, that's absolutely what I want, and it agrees with what you want, and that's perfect. How boring is that? I mean, that's not much fun. But we do it with great respect, and I think with, according to what everybody says, pretty good outcomes. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Now, when my wife twisted my arm into being a daily All My Children viewer all those years ago, you were pretty new to the show, too. I wondered, what were you thinking at that time? I think you came on in 87, as I recall.
87 was my first year there, yeah.
Yeah. What were you thinking then? Were you thinking, I'll do this for, 2 or 3 years, and then I'll go on and do something else, or this is kind of fun, maybe it'll last a while?
I didn't have any kind of really forward projections. Possibly I should have. I just, I was still trying to get over the fact that that I was doing this. How do I explain this? My dad was, my dad worked in the coal mines and glass factories for almost 50 years. And he worked swing shift, and which meant mornings, days one week, afternoons the next, midnights the following week, and then right back into the rotation. And he never complained about anything. He thought he had a damn good job, had some good benefits to it, so he used to have it. And, here I was having this great job. I didn't have a plan. I had gotten fired from Ryan's Hope. I played Joe Novak in Ryan's Hope for just a heartbeat, maybe 9 months, maybe less. And Daniel Pilon, who was my arch nemesis on that show, his character, Max Debujak, had decided not to come back to the show. He was going to retire or quit or do something after what. And they let us go. They let the Siobhan at the time go, Corral Myers, and they let me go. And then my head was still spinning from that, because it wasn't 6 months later that I started on All My Children. And I'd been around there a lot. I'd done tons of extra work, tons of under 5 day player work. And I don't think I ever really expected to get a contract role. And, at that time, we're talking 87, the show was not all the daytime, was kind of still at the top of the game. It was, and still is, a hell of a good job. Did I expect to all of a sudden raise my head up and have been there 23 years? No, I didn't. But things like kids and responsibilities and finally becoming an adult, and although I was well into my 30s when I started the show, finally growing up and becoming an adult, all these things, happened. And then all of a sudden it was 2010 and I was still doing it, and I don't regret a moment of it.
Do you have a favorite storyline from all these years?
I don't. I don't. And as I said, I have either the curse or the blessing of, people come, oh, I just loved you when you guys did that. And I really have to think, when did we do that? I don't remember doing that. I mean, we do an incredible volume of work, but Susan has got a track on this stuff. My mind just doesn't work that way. I mean, I do it, and I'm pretty much done with it then. I guess it just kind of falls out of my head. But favorite storyline, I must say that, and it was a shame how it happened. It was kind of the only storyline that really was kind of about Jack. I mean, the good news, bad news. When you're working with Susan Lucci, when you're a beau of Erica Kane's, you're working with the best. You're working with the one. You're working with the poo, so to speak. I mean, you're working with the big deal there. Bad news is when you're not working with her, sometimes you're not working at all. And the couple became very popular very fast. And so when they wanted to put Erica with somebody else, then Jack would kind of do nothing. And then along came a story about Jack getting involved with this woman who turned out to be not such a good person. And they tested a lot of women. And they went with this one who was beautiful. She was gorgeous, she was tall, she was blonde, she was buxom, she was all that. Not an experienced actress, and that's where it kind of all fell apart. So in the middle of this great story, great for Jack, with this actress who was just not ready for it. I mean, maybe a year down the road she may have been ready for it. But at that time, doing 40, 50 pages a day, she just wasn't ready for it. And so they had to recast right in the middle of this and kill the story. Just kill the story. They recast. A good friend of mine, Felicity LaFortune, who was also on Children. I knew her from Ryan's Hope. And, I was so glad to see her. She's an incredible actress. But it just kind of shot. And since that time, I really haven't had a story that was about Jack. It's always been about the kids or about Erica, or did I mention it was going to be about Erica? And, hey, guess what? It's about Erica. And, I knew what I was getting into when I took the job, but I didn't know that the couple was going to be so enduring. And I thought there might be more of a learning curve for these two characters, that either they would get it right finally, or they would say, hey, obviously we can't get it right. We should maybe not do this. But they're still going at it, God bless them, and it's evidently what people want.
Well, let me ask you one more thing about the AMC, and then we'll change gears a little bit.
Sure.
Long-running soap operas have been dying off, unfortunately, in recent years, and those remaining
dropping like flies.
Yeah, I mean, those who are still with us are they're under the microscope. They're having their budgets cut. Has AMC been affected like the others?
Oh, good God, yes, absolutely, of course. Every one of them has. Every one of them has. We had a few years where we weren't sitting where we should be in the lineup. I'm not even going to point fingers, a variety of things, but mostly what has happened is, our viewership has eroded. The demographic has changed. Everybody's back into the workforce, and those advertisers, they know that when you watch on your DVR or your VHS or whatever other way you're recording these, you're not watching their commercials. They know that. Mm-hmm. So our rate card falls, and the cost of us doing business like everybody else goes up. And so you're in a place where, we were the cash cows for news and sports at ABC. Daytime paid for news and sports as well as ourselves. Well, that's just no longer the case. So, yeah, there's incredible scrutiny to bring things in quick and cheap. I mean, we are doing a volume of work that we have, in the time that I've been there, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, we're literally doing 140, 150, 160 pages a day. A day. And, we need to have them done pretty early in the night, or they just turn on the lights and that's it for the day. It's a very difficult thing. I hope, I think if any network stays in the business, I would hope it would be ABC. I think we've certainly got another couple of years, but beyond that, I'd be hedging bets. Reality TV, talk shows, they've changed the face of daytime, as have the extra 500 channels, above and beyond the major networks that we now have. So the entire, everything has changed. Everything we knew is different now, and the fact that we've managed to stay afloat in this kind of incredibly changing times is, I think, a testament to the media.
Just an idea in passing. Maybe you could play a second character, like maybe your twin sister.
Yes, except if you've ever seen me in drag, Bob, and I don't suggest that's even possible, but once in a while I am an ugly woman. And, doesn't seem to be a lot of space on daytime dramas for ugly women. No, that wouldn't. I don't think that would help our ratings at all.
Well, you've got let's change gears here at Ugly Woman. You've got
good place.
You've got a comedy CD out called Wild and Willey that people can get at your website, willeyworld.com. How did you discover a knack for stand-up that you didn't start at that point?
I always wanted to do it. I will tell you, Bob, my very first album, I had a lot of 45s, but my very first 33 and the third long-playing record was Bill Cosby's I Started Out as a Child. And I played it until I wore it out. Then I discovered my dad's Red Fox records, and that was the end of Bill Cosby for a while. And then I discovered Richie Pryor, and that was the end of both of them. I always wanted to do it. I've always been the funny guy in the room, so to speak. But I didn't know anything about it. So one day I was doing Regis and Kathy Lee at the time. And Regis was giving me crap the way he always did. Willie, Lucci's going to drop you. She drops them all, so then what are you going to do? And I said, well, Regis, I'm going to go back to stand-up. And I'd never done it before, but I figured that was a good show to fly a flag and see if anybody saluted. And sure enough, some mob joint laundering money up in New Haven, Connecticut booked me. And that was like 1990, I think. And I got up there and I had written an act, and let me tell you, when I say I blew, I'm being kind. I was terrible. And but the place was packed, and everybody was very nice and very supportive, and clapped and laughed in all the places. But I knew I was terrible. So I tucked my tail and ripped all those note cards up and built a real strong 10 minutes, and I went into a charity event for, I think it was breast cancer awareness, and went in there, and they called my name. I was going up to do my little 10 minutes, and about that time, Christopher Walken and his wife, Georgiana, come in and sit down right in front. And I have been still, to this day, a Chris Walken fan. And so there he is, and he's sitting there, and I just absolutely tore the joint up. I don't know that I've ever been better since then. That was like 89, I guess, or so, before I started to tour. And he invited me to come sit with him at his table. We had a couple of drinks, met the wife, this and that. And so I can, I guess, honestly say I owe my stand-up career to Regis Philbin and Christopher Walken. Pretty strange pair there, but I guess it's true.
Not bad, and you've done a fabulous job of name dropping in this 30 minutes.
Oh, geez,
we started with Val Kilmer.
You're asking the right questions, pal. That's not my thing. You're asking the right question.
How will you put your comic sensibilities to work when you host Acme Saturday Night in L.A. Next Saturday, June 12th?
Well, they're just around the corner from where I live. When we came on, the show moved out here in January. I was trying to find a home court to do stand-up. I thought, Acme Comedy Theater, got to be a stand-up place. Well, it turns out not to be. It's a sketch comedy place. But I went in and I met the folks there, and I saw what they were doing, and then they asked me to do another one of their shows there, the Hollywood Dream Role, in which I got to play the Roy Scheider part in Jaws, except it was about a giant anteater, and we called it Tongue. And I've done a lot of improv, and I just had a ball. And I said, well, listen, when you do this Saturday Night Live format, they tonight, give me a call. I thought, well, it'll be a few months, but evidently they don't know what they're doing over there at Acme because they're having me back very soon after my first 4 days. So it's either reflects well on me or badly on them. I'm not sure which. I don't know. We actually shot a video sketch last Friday before I ran out of town for the weekend, and that was a lot of fun. I don't know if I should tell you what it was about, but I will. It was about Lady Gaga living under a kitchen table. There, I said it. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not.
All right.
So we taped that. It was very funny. I've met a few of these people now working with the improv troupe. They also work with the SNL format thing, and they're, really talented bunch of people. This has been a lot of fun. I guess I'll find out what comic sensibilities I'll use when I see the rest of the sketches. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what is required.
All right. Well, folks, listen, before we run out of time, I want to tell you that you can see actor Walt Willey 5 days a week on the ABC soap opera All My Children, of course, and you can order his new comedy CD, Wild and Willy, at his website, which is WilleyWorld, WilleyWorld.com. And Walt will also, as we were just discussing, be the celebrity guest host of Acme Saturday Night at the Acme Comedy Theater in Los Angeles on June 12th. Showtime is 7 p.m.
This July.
Yes?
July 23rd, 24th, and 25th in my own community theater that I set up in my little hometown of Ottawa, Illinois. We will be doing Arsenic and Old Lace, and my special guest is Julia Barr, the ever-charming Brooke English from All My Children.
Absolutely.
She's going to be playing one of the ants, and I just throw the death. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I wasn't.
No, that's good. I actually saw that on the site, and I was going to mention that, but you beat me to it, so we'll go with that. And let me just throw in that showtime for the Acme performance is 7 p.m. Pacific. Studio tickets are $10 online, $15 at the door, and you can order tickets or watch the show live online free at acmecomedy.com. Walt, can people find you online? Are you doing Facebook or any of that kind of thing?
You know, I've got my own website that you mentioned there. I think I have a Facebook. I don't run it. Somebody else does it, and it's basically for promotion. I'm dragging myself into the 21st century here. I do Twitter occasionally. It's all very exciting.
All right. Well, Walt, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Media. A lot of fun. And folks, check him out live, no matter where you are, on Saturday, June 12th, acmecomedy.com. Thanks so much for coming on the show today, Walt.
Thank you. Good luck with everything. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. And folks, for more original interviews with your favorite TV stars, surf over to our main website, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. You can subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. You can also follow me on Facebook or Twitter, twitter.com/Andelman, or search Mr. Media Interviews on Facebook. Thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with Mr. Media. Thanks for listening, everybody.